Welcome back. I am excited to not only bake with you today, but also play and experiment a little bit. We're just going to use our basic bread dough recipe, and we'll link the video to making that for the first time below in the description. But today we're going to use that basic bread dough and make some mini loaves, which are really fun and easy if you've got a car trip you need to do. They're compact and fun. My kids like to take a loaf and run outside, and I don't see them for a couple hours because they're playing way back and they have their snack with them. And they're much anticipated. I've had a lot of comments asking for a Pullman Loaf pan demonstration. So we are going to do this today. And I have really done research here. I have made so many Pullman loaves to get the weight just right. And then as I got the weight just right, I realized I'm doing everything with the basic bread dough. So if you use a different bread dough, the weight might be a little bit different. But you're going to see about how far I fill it, and we're going to get there. So I did a little research too on the Pullman Loaf pan because I didn't know where it came from, or because everybody has some videos out about this, but not what it is or where it came from. I did not know. This is called a pain de mie, and that's my horrible French, or pain de Anglaise, Anglais, I don't know. They've had these around since the 1700s, but not like this. It's mostly a square rectangular pan, however long, and they have some sort of weighted lid for it that might be far bigger than the pan or fits perfectly, but it's got a handle on it, cast iron or whatever they were baking with. I did not know that that's been around that long, but the name Pullman came in when George Pullman, who owned the Pullman Railway Company, he was the inventor of kind of luxury railway travel with the full dining experience and brass fixtures and, very, very ritzy and expensive. But people enjoyed the trip almost as much as the destination they were going to. He actually, side note I learned, made the railway car that brought Abraham Lincoln from Washington, D.C. to his final resting place in Springfield, Illinois, and people lined the railways to say goodbye to Abraham Lincoln. I didn't know that. So he invented this luxury traveling system and with beauty and splendor. And if you were the people in the other cars that didn't pay very much, you got like hamburgers. But if you were in the upper class, spent a lot of money on your ticket cars, they had kitchens in there, and every inch of the kitchen car, like, you had to use every inch perfectly. They had engineers, they had chefs, they had, they brought in everybody to maximize every single inch there. Even the chefs had down how you turn to cook, and so you could work with other people. Every movement they made was calculated. And they realized that with the bread that we usually make in the regular pans, you know how the bread is like, it goes up in the middle and down? Well, you can't serve people a sandwich or bread from the middle and then somebody else gets the smaller slice on the end. There would be, people paid their money for these tickets, so they don't want a smaller slice when somebody gets a bigger slice. And for every 2 regular loaf pans that would go in an oven, 3 of these would fit. So they knew about the pain de mie bread, the chefs did obviously, and they knew that it was actually fit better because this makes a perfect rectangle and they stack well, and you can use every single slice of the bread and everybody gets the same slice, so nobody can complain. They decided to use these kind of pans, but if you have a big, cast iron lid to hold it down or something bigger, that doesn't help with space. So they actually invented the lid that goes on these kind of pans. So it's a Pullman Loaf pan because they needed the pans to stack up when not in use also. So there you go. You have a little history. He made railway cars for over 100 years. The last one was in 1982. In case you needed to know. I like silly and useless history facts that make nobody happy but me. So a couple of things about the Pullman pan, as I've been using it for a while, I've realized I store my bread in just, I get them at Walmart, and our stores here is H-E-B. That's like our local grocery store all over Texas. And they fit a normal size loaf, and it comes with like a twist tie. It's just a clear bag, loaf bag. You can't fit one of these in here. So you either need to special order long bags, or what I do is just cut mine in half, and I freeze one half of it and have the other out. And you know, as we go through it, as we get down to the end, I get the frozen half out. But I just found out there is kind of a Rubbermaid container made especially for this is a 13-inch Pullman pan, and they actually have, it's not Rubbermaid, it's like Lock and Lock or something. It's the click lock side ones. And it has this little piece, it looks just like this, but it has a little plastic piece that you scrunch up against the bread, butt up against it, and it keeps the bread all together. So even if you slice it, it keeps it fresh because the bread's all touching. So I don't own one yet, but I soon will. I am excited to make some bread with you today. This is the basic bread dough recipe. I'm doubling it as I normally do, and I will link the video to how we make it together in the description box. But I've had some people ask for an over-the-top view of how to make it and what it looks like while it's combining. So here we go. A crazy amount of measuring. We have to get the right weight, because sometimes when you bake this, you'll see people with Pullman loaf pans and still the ends slope down a little bit. And while everything tastes good and the bulk of it is rectangular, you know, it's not quite that perfect rectangle. That just means they didn't fill it full enough. Totally fine, it's not bad, but if you want the whole loaf to be that perfect rectangle, I have tried with the basic bread dough that we've done together, 2 pounds 12 ounces, 2 pounds 13 ounces, 3 pounds. I've gone back and forth and I found too little, too much. I've sat and Goldilocks it forever. And with the basic bread dough, every bread dough will be a little bit different. I have found 2 pounds, 15 ounces seems to be just right. So 2 pounds, 15 ounces. So we're gonna weigh out our bread dough and get 2 pounds, 15 ounces. And we're just gonna, and again, these are the USA pans I have, so it's non-stick. They're the best pans. But if you need to butter your pan, I'm not sure who else sells the Pullman pans, and this is the large one. Do whatever you need. If you've got the USA pan, you do not need to butter it or spray it or anything. So we're gonna weigh out the dough we just made, 2 pounds, 15 ounces. So here, 2 pounds, 15 ounces is 1,333 grams. So however you like to make your loaf of dough, I'm just gonna stick this in here. We're gonna try to measure out roughly how long our pan is, and then just make a nice looking loaf. It's gonna rise. The whole point of this is to make it rise, fill every inch of space, and then it's gonna bake and be a little bit denser, more compact in there, so that you have a really good sandwich loaf. So they're all the same size, and it's a little bit less crumb when you cut into it. So this is gonna expand, stop, and bake into itself a little bit in a good way. Usually you don't want to say you have dense bread, and this isn't by any means like chewy dense bread, but you don't have to be so precise with how you make your loaf look, because it's going to bake into the pan. So it is not even halfway up, maybe just under halfway up. So if you're baking and don't have a scale or don't want to use a scale, not quite halfway filling the pan. I try and just push it to get against the edges, but honestly, it's gonna in there, so you don't have to worry too much. So what we're gonna do, that's it, right? Simple, real fast. We're gonna let it rise in the pan. We're not gonna worry about time as much as we want it to get to just about an inch below the pan lid. So we're gonna pop the pan lid on. We are not closing it though. We want to keep an eye on it, because maybe you have a really hot kitchen, or it's a hot day, so it's going to rise faster, or it's very cold and you're rising slow. Don't worry about time so much as just under the lid of the pan here. As soon as it gets to this rise, we'll close the lid and bake it. I did forget to close my lid once, and I just put it in the oven, and it was this perfect rectangle and then a big floof on top. It was so cute. It looked like a giant shopping cart or something. It was ridiculous. Still looked good. It just, had a little character. We just ate that in first, and then, I could say I had a perfect loaf. But so we'll put this to the side. We'll put them all in the oven with the light on, but no heat, to rise in just a minute. So with my remaining dough, I'm going to use my, I have USA Pans mini loaf. And if you look it up on the website, the Pullman loaf is called large Pullman loaf. They have a smaller version. And this is just set of 4 mini loaf. There's no dimensions right in the name or anything. So this is just my mini loaf pan. I had another pan that I used to use all the time, but they were smaller loaves than this, so I used about 160 grams of dough. So if you have anything that's smaller than this, it was one pan together with little loaves in it, like a cookie sheet with loaves in it. And I used 160 grams, if that helps, if you have the smaller pan. With these USA pans, pending how much you like your loaf to be over the edge, I know some people want a more rectangular in here and some want more of a fluffy bread kind. Start at 215 grams, 215 grams of dough in each one. You can do 225. So I'm going to do 215 in this one and 225 in this one to show you the difference, really. So we're just gonna weigh out our remaining dough and make little loaves in here. However you want to roll it up, just like you would do a regular loaf of bread. Just kind of make your regular little loaf and put it in here, and we'll let them rise to about double or half an hour. So we have our cute little mini loaves. I just love, I mean, how cute is that? So we're gonna let both of these rise till doubled, about a half an hour, keeping an eye especially on our Pullman pan. And then if this rises first, and these are a little under halfway, I'm just gonna go ahead and bake them. So they might not get their full rise, but for me the Pullman is a little bit more important. But you do whatever you like to do. So we're looking for it to be risen to just under, I guess I said an inch earlier, maybe a half an inch under the lid here. So as soon as it gets up to just under the lid, about a half an inch, we're gonna close it, preheat that oven 350, and this is gonna bake about 35 minutes. We want it to bake a little bit more just to really get that structure baked in there. If you bake it for 30 minutes, what I have found, because a normal loaf of bread with the basic bread dough, a normal loaf would be 30 minutes baking, 190. Well, it's really hard to get a temperature, take the lid off and get a temperature. If you only do it 30 minutes, I find that our nice rectangle comes out a rectangle, and as it cools, it sinks in at the top. Still tastes good. There are no mistakes. Once you've got your bread dough made properly, it's gonna taste good. And that's the glory of baking, is that you're gonna enjoy what you eat. It just might not look how you want it to look. But if you bake it 35 minutes, that structure really gets baked in there, and as you let it cool, it'll hold its shape. So Pullman Loaf pan bakes 35 minutes. The mini loaves, we're gonna watch it, and they're gonna bake about 20 to 21 minutes, pending your oven. So yeah, we're gonna put these into rise. So I did the cardinal bad thing. I put it in for half an hour, and my kitchen's cold, so it took a little bit longer, and I walked away and I let it rise a little too much. So when I try and shut this, it might deflate a little bit. So I'm hoping that it turns out okay. But these are the mini loaves. These were the ones I weighed at 215 grams. And these are the ones I weighed at 225. So we'll be able to see. And I had a little loaf left over we'll see what happens. But yeah, so now it's time to shut this, which is gonna deflate a little bit. I'm so mad at myself for, I had it just right. Ah, there it goes. Boo. Okay, it should be fine. We're gonna see. There's my rooster telling me it's all gonna be okay. So we're still gonna very carefully take it over to our preheated oven and let this bake 35 minutes. And we're gonna let these bake 21. And I should have specified before, you know how your oven bakes. So if usually we bake a regular loaf for 30 minutes and you tend to need to bake it less time or more time, just alter it by 5 minutes. So this bakes just that much longer. And these, you know what bread loaves should look like, so look for that good golden color. They are happy today. Look for the good golden color, and we'll come back with delicious, fun loaves. So this is baked, excuse our guineas in the background, 35 minutes, and it's still very hot, but you need to get it out of the loaf. Oh, I thought maybe it might be ruined. Hot. Look at that! So it filled every nook and cranny. Look how amazing that is. I do think it could have even filled the corners in just a little bit better, except I had deflated it because I let it rise too long. But we are none of us perfect. Whew, hot. Okay. If you leave this in here the moisture will build up along the sides and it's going to be soggy and not quite right. So as soon as you can comfortably get it out, you need to get it out. So let's just see. Hot, hot, hot. Ta-da! I don't know why this makes me so happy. What a fun little thing. This is like a little school bus, or I guess maybe like a Pullman train car. But I love that every single slice is perfect. Every sandwich is the same size. This is so much fun. Now, you have to make sure with this, you really, really need to let it cool before you cut into it. That's why I like to do little loaves when I do this with the rest of the dough, because I smell fresh bread and I immediately want to cut into it and eat it, which, you know, you can. So, but I make little loaves and I can eat those. And all three of my kids have walked through and two have said, can I have some loaves to take outside? So this is how the bread smells so good. So we're going to let this cool absolutely completely before cutting into it. Now I see it kind of sinking in a little bit, which it hasn't done that before, but I think it's because I had to poke it down and it kind of sunk a little bit before I baked it. But usually if you let it rise correctly and bake it, it won't sink in. But either way, it does not affect the integrity of the bread and the taste of the bread. And then we have our mini loaves that are the cutest little things. These are the two that we did 225 grams, and these are the 215 grams. So they are just the sweetest little loaves that you've ever seen. I kind of think I prefer the larger ones, but you know, whatever you like. And they baked for about 22 minutes. They probably could have even gone 23, so. But I'll cut one of those. This we can cut. I'll do a littler one. See, they're just the sweetest little things. And most of the time, we kind of cut them this way and make long slices, and you can put, you know, mayonnaise and a slice of turkey or whatever. If we made pizza recently, then the kids will put pepperoni on it or anything. But I just think it's fun to have your good bread in different forms. And I love the Pullman Loaf pan, and I love these little mini loaves. There's all different things, and we can do some fun experiments later on, but I just wanted to do these with you today. This is so cute. Come on. Why does bread make me so happy? I don't know. But I hope this has helped you and encourage you if you get to pick a new pan for your birthday or want to go buy or order a new pan. Again, the USA Pans, the best place is on their website, usapan.com. I had a viewer say that some Ace Hardwares have them. So maybe your local Ace Hardware will have them, and some military bases have them in their stores. But it's like, I don't think I've ever seen a Pullman pan there, but you can for sure order them. So I would do that. And then there's mini loaf pans, USA pans you can get. And I have had a mini loaf pan that was like one pan together that had the loaves in it forever. And I think I got that at Walmart or Target years ago. I couldn't tell you. There's lots of fun little loaves. So I'm curious if you guys have any other suggestions of pans or anything. But if you are in the market for a new fun pan, here you go. And I want you to know I am so grateful for you. I am thankful for you. I'm praying for you. And thank you for joining me this week. And I will see you next week. I hope you have an excellent week. I just wanted to show you, we cut up one little loaf, and the girls were saying we could toast it and put some mozzarella on and make a little bruschetta type thing. So an idea for your mini loaf. And it's been about a half an hour since it's come out. So I don't think it's going to sink anymore. I'm actually pretty pleased. I mean, I think that's pretty good. This is such an amazing loaf. that's really on the money there. So I have to cut it. I can't wait. It's still warm and I should wait, but we're not going to, so. How good is this? Delicious bread, perfect little squares. It's just really cute. So we have our Pullman loaf mastered. We can go out and make perfect sandwiches for people or whatever you make with this. Go forth and enjoy your Pullman pan.